5 lessons I've learned from teaching guitar for almost 10 years now. Wow. What up, homies? My name is Richard Shepard. I'm the owner of the Heroes of Music Institute. Here's lesson number 1 that I've learned. Respect the student's dreams. You know, when you're teaching guitar, the way I started out, and it was just a recommendation from a friend who suggested I try teaching at his youth center. And I took to it really, really well, and it was a lot of fun. But I immediately was faced with these young, impressionable souls who really wanted a life in music and wanted to understand the guitar a little bit better. Maybe some of them even dreamed of being on stage and rocking out, you know? Those are valid aspirations, and their dreams are in your hands. I really took that responsibility with as much care as I could, because I was once that student that went into a class wanting to know more about music. And thankfully, I had my first teacher was fantastic, Mr. Doug Burris. Will never forget him, who encouraged my musical ambitions in my teenage years. So I try to be the same with any student of any age, 7 and up, that come to me with their dream of wanting to know more about music, want to know how to make this thing sing. Yeah, speaking of Doug Burris, he was an inspiration. He was a huge inspiration to me. The class that I'm referring to was this class called Rock Ensemble. Now, this is a class that still goes on at Miami Beach Senior High, where I went to school. But this was an elective class that you had to audition for. So I became aware as a sophomore of this class, and I went in I heard about the auditions, and I got a friend that played guitar, because I was just a singer at the time, and I rehearsed this song called Patience from Guns N' Roses, which has a really high falsetto head voice part at the end of it. I didn't know what falsetto meant at all at the time. I just heard somebody screaming high, and I thought, okay, I'm going to scream really high in this particular part. And I went to the audition, and I did it. And I remember at the end of my song, I heard actual snickers from a girl that I really liked a lot in the class. And then there was a silence, and Mr. Burris on a microphone gave his verdict. He said, "Richard, I really, really love your energy. I want you to keep practicing and audition again next year." So, like the great Jim Carrey said,
"So you're telling me there's a chance?"
That's all the encouragement that I needed. I never even left the class after the audition. In my mind, that was a yes. I just hung around and helped out with equipment, and helped other singers, and helped all the other musicians, and ingratiated myself in the culture. And later on, so many of my musical dreams came true. I got to perform with some legends, traveled the world, got a record deal, got a publishing deal as a writer. And it was all because I was encouraged along the way. So I had a great teacher that took my dream seriously. And so I try to do the same for any student that works with me. Number 2, if students sign up with you, I've learned that they are already demonstrating a tremendous amount of courage. If you think about it, students that sign up with me in the neighborhood have typically found out about me through word of mouth, or they've picked a number off one of the flyers that I put in the neighborhood for them to come study with me. Now, what happens when you get that number? Do you go home and you call that number right away? Maybe. What really happens is you take that number, and where do you put it? On the refrigerator, or maybe in your pocket somewhere, and you're like, I'm going to call this guy, as soon as I can, right? And then days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, but maybe something clicks and they finally muster up the courage to call. Do you hear what I just said? They muster up the courage to finally call, because what are they doing? What's a student doing when they're asking you if they could study with you? They're making themselves vulnerable to you. They're like, I don't know this. I need to learn it. Can you help me? I'll pay you. As crass as I'm placing it right there, that's exactly what they're doing. They're putting their trust in you to show them the way. So I always respect students that do sign up, put their hard-earned money behind their lessons, because a lot of times there's a mental component when you put your money, like you have more skin in the game when you pay for lessons. Now, and even if I get students whose parents are paying for the lessons, young students, I always let them know that their parents are paying for this. It's your job now to take on this responsibility. Don't let this money be for nothing. Take advantage of this opportunity that they're providing for you. And students that pay for their lessons on their own, they learn very differently than other students that who have a parent. I find students that pay for their own lessons are engaged at a much deeper level. Why? Because they're paying for it. It's their money. They really want to see a return on it, right? Makes sense. Okay, number 3. I've learned that you're not just teaching the guitar, you're opening the universe of music to these students. Okay, once you can hold the rhythm down, you can start playing with others immediately. Once you know, and playing with others, that's a community. You can meet guys or gals that your whole lives could get changed from playing together, right? Whether it's, just playing together for yourselves, or you start playing locally, or you go all the way to Shea Stadium. Playing music with others, and then it can be life-changing. It was for me. But also, once you can play with others, you can go anywhere in the world and play with other musicians. You could just carry your guitar around. And I've done it. You go to some foreign country, or you take a vacation, you take your guitar with you. People will want to play with you, or people will want to listen. They'll take videos of you. I mean, it opens up a whole new universe. Also, too, if you start recording yourself and sharing those recordings, people might love those recordings. Also, recording, you could start falling in love with the process of recording. Guitar might change in your priority list, and you might fall in love with it. Could be a bridge to something. It could be playing the guitar. It's been a great friend to me. You might start performing live. I mentioned that already. Okay. Next one. I've learned to encourage enthusiasm. A student, no matter how small the student thinks the idea may be, I always want to hear it, whether it's a little line that they came up with, a song that they've learned, or an idea. I want to hear the ideas. Let me hear the ideas. I try to encourage the student to start trusting their instincts. No matter how much they know, it's important to encourage enthusiasm, because it is a fragile thing. Like I said, in lesson number 1, you have their dreams in your hands, and you could crush their dreams when they start sharing some of their musical ideas with you. So I take that responsibility very seriously. And they may not know what it is that they're playing at that particular time. So I try and help translate that for them. And then that in itself opens up a whole other world. Well, how do you know that? What is that? It's music theory, or this is phrasing. These are dynamics. This is all of that stuff it's the universe of music is vast. It's not just playing the guitar. It's all, then you can start playing with other musicians, the engineers, the lighting people, the staging. It's a huge, other teachers. It's a huge, huge universe. Encourage enthusiasm. Okay, the fifth lesson that I've learned as a teacher of almost 10 years now with the guitar is now I repurpose all of the materials that I write for particular students. No matter how specialized the particular student, anything that I write down, I repurpose it. One lesson for one student might be applicable to another student or students down the road. So anything that I write for my classes, as specialized as they are, I may use that for another group of students down the line. Anything I film, write, or create, I repurpose this. This is kind of a gold lesson that I've learned. A lot of the videos that I'm making now are based on material that I've written for some of the many students that I've worked with. So repurposing your material for new students is invaluable. It's a gold mine. Okay, if you're still with me, I'm going to give you an extra one. The next lesson I've learned is with experience, I've learned to identify aptitude right away. And I say that with experience because I think I tend to do that now more with new students. I'm big with encouragement, but I also want to identify the student's strengths and build on them. I don't avoid weaknesses either. I believe in developing your weaknesses so that you become a complete player. But I really am adamant about encouraging natural aptitude. For example, currently I have a student that is showing an incredible amount of aptitude toward songwriting. I mean, this kid is natural at creating melodies and chord progressions. I've had other students that were natural born shredders on the guitar. I mean, incredible. Like they just wanted to get faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. These guys they're leaning more toward the virtuoso realm. That's who they wanted to study. They wanted to be virtuosos on the instrument. Others were multi-instrumentalists. Others wanted to be more artists, wanted kind of a basic understanding of song composition so they can just sing their songs and then eventually outsource the writing to others. But that comes with experience, being able to identify aptitude. And the reason that's important is because it really helps excite the student, like, oh, wow, I didn't know that about myself. And then they explore it on their own, and then they develop it further on their own. And it's like, whoa, it's like they discover a superpower. All right, guys, these are some of the many, many lessons that I've learned about since I started teaching the guitar almost 10 years ago. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. I hope this was valuable. And if you're watching this video, you may yourself be thinking about teaching the guitar. And let me tell you something, you should do it. If you've been playing guitar for about a year or two, you're ready to start teaching beginners and young children. Consider it's a great way to make some extra income, to make money, and just to pay it forward, all the gift that is music. So I highly encourage you, if you're thinking about starting to teach guitar, do it. You'll have a great time. My name is Richard Shepard. I'm the owner of the Heroes of Music Institute. Thanks for watching. Stay great.